Is nuclear disarmament really just a cover for the next arms race? Right now, Russia has formally withdrawn from its landmark plutonium disposal treaty with the United States. On that very same day, Russia's strategic nuclear forces staged a massive public drill, sending a clear message to the world. Decades-old agreements that once kept Cold War tensions in check are now falling apart. As these treaties crumble, anxiety over nuclear brinkmanship is making a haunting comeback. Behind the scenes, one question looms. Who truly benefits when the rules of the old nuclear game are tossed aside? Most of us miss the deeper story. While the West worries about lost treaties, Russia has quietly seized a unique opportunity. By leveraging the collapse of arms control, it has turned crisis into a chance to leap ahead in nuclear technology and redefine its global standing. The risk? If we ignore these seismic shifts, nations could lose not just their security, but their influence, their economic edge, and their place in shaping the future world order. To understand why this moment matters, and how Russia managed to turn setback into advantage, let's rewind to the origins of the plutonium agreement. How did this unlikely treaty take shape, and why did it matter so much to both Russia and the United States? Let's step back to the dawn of post-Cold War cooperation. How did a spirit of cooperation become a story of mistrust, missed chances, and hidden ambition? In the early 1990s, as the Soviet Union collapsed, the world witnessed a rare moment of hope. Russia and the United States joined forces to reduce the nuclear threats of the Cold War, dismantling vast arsenals that once held the power to destroy the planet many times over. This new era saw landmark agreements. The Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, START 1, set hard limits on nuclear weapons. The Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty promised an end to nuclear detonations. For a while, it seemed like humanity was learning from its mistakes. One deal stood out: the megatons to megawatts program. Over the next 2 decades, Russia transformed 500 tons of highly enriched uranium from old warheads into reactor fuel. That fuel powered American homes, turning weapons of mass destruction into energy for everyday life, a symbol of what peace could achieve. Yet, not all nuclear materials are created equal. Plutonium proved to be a stubborn problem. Unlike uranium, it is far more difficult and expensive to neutralize. Both Russia and the United States had stockpiles of weapons-grade plutonium, dangerous leftovers of the arms race. After years of negotiations, a breakthrough came in the year 2000. Both countries committed to dispose of 34 tons of their own surplus weapons-grade plutonium. It was a bold vision, to lock away the deadliest materials, forever neutralized. But this story is about more than treaties and signatures. It is about how optimism can fade, how technical and political obstacles reshape the best-laid plans, and how each step in nuclear diplomacy carries consequences for decades to come. Understanding this context is key. Otherwise, today's events seem random, rather than the result of decades-long strategies. But even the most carefully crafted agreements can unravel under pressure. When money runs short, trust withers, and reality intervenes, the true test of cooperation begins. What if the real contest wasn't about disarmament at all, but about who would dominate the nuclear future? On paper, both Russia and the United States agreed. Each would build advanced facilities to transform 34 metric tons of weapons-grade plutonium into MOX fuel and burn it in nuclear reactors, making the material unusable for bombs. Russia moved with focus and resolve. By 2015, it had completed its MOX fuel production site in Krasnoyarsk, and just a year later, launched the world's most powerful fast neutron reactor, the BN-800, at the Beloyarsk nuclear power plant. This reactor wasn't just a technical marvel. It was the only one of its kind operating at full industrial scale, capable of safely consuming weapons plutonium while pushing Russia to the cutting edge of nuclear technology. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, the American plan unraveled. The Savannah River MOX project, once budgeted at $2.7 billion, spiraled out of control, ballooning to an eye-watering $7.7 billion before being abandoned altogether. Instead of recycling plutonium as promised, the United States shifted to simply burying it underground, hoping that would be enough. For Russia, this was a red line. Burial wasn't real disposal. The plutonium could be dug up decades later and used for new weapons. From Moscow's perspective, the United States was breaking its word and undermining the basic trust that underpinned the treaty. With no progress in sight, Russia first suspended, then fully withdrew from the agreement. The message was clear. The rules of the nuclear game had changed, and the United States was no longer keeping pace. But the American response was more than just retreat. Instead of fully eliminating plutonium, the U.S. pivoted, announcing plans to manufacture new warhead cores and even proposing to hand over some plutonium to private companies for use as data center fuel. That move triggered alarm bells worldwide. Giving private interests access to weapons-grade material is a recipe for proliferation, security breaches, and a crisis of global confidence. Behind the headlines, the cost of these failures was staggering. Mismanaging nuclear materials isn't just about money wasted. It's about risking global security, losing technological leadership, and ceding crucial economic opportunities to rivals. In this contest, the balance of world power itself is at stake. So, with the deal in ashes, how did Russia turn this diplomatic defeat into a launchpad for technological transformation and strategic advantage? Let's dive into how Russia capitalized on the treaty's collapse, not just to recover, but to leap ahead in the nuclear race. What if betrayal was the catalyst Russia needed to leap ahead? In the wake of the broken plutonium agreement, Russia did not retreat. It advanced, channeling the crisis into a historic technological leap. While Washington debated, Moscow invested, completing the BN-800 fast neutron reactor and moving forward with the revolutionary BN-1200M, soon to become the world's first commercial reactor of its kind. This was not just about new hardware. Russia mastered the MOX fuel cycle and perfected the closed nuclear loop, techniques no other nation could replicate at scale. With these breakthroughs, Russia opened new demonstration centers, expanded critical nuclear infrastructure, and raced toward true energy sovereignty. While Russia accelerated into the future, the United States took the opposite path. Instead of building on its commitments, America dismantled its own infrastructure, abandoning the promise of advanced reactors and the MOX fuel cycle. Today, astonishingly, 1/4 of all American nuclear power plants depend on Russian fuel to keep running. The tables had turned. What began as an attempt to force Russian compliance ended with Moscow transforming adversity into lasting strategic advantage. Russia now stands alone at the cutting edge of nuclear power, leveraging its lead for both national security and global influence. Missing out on these technological revolutions is about more than pride. It means surrendering the keys to energy security, military parity, and economic opportunity. As Russia redefines what it means to lead in the energy age, the consequences echo far beyond government halls or scientific circles. But what does this new era of Russian leadership actually look like for its people, its economy, and the world stage? The answers are unfolding, reshaping daily life and global perceptions alike. How does a country turn diplomatic defeat into a showcase for resilience and progress? For Russia, the answer has been to meet every crisis with a new wave of innovation and bold transformation. Amid renewed Cold War tensions and the breakdown of the plutonium disposal treaty with the United States, Russia didn't just react, it pivoted. The nation poured its energy into breakthrough projects, successfully testing the world's first intercontinental cruise missile powered by a nuclear engine, launching new jet prototypes, and driving advancements in heavy industry from mining equipment to high-end plastics manufacturing. But this story of renewal isn't just about technology. Moscow's metro, once a symbol of the past, has been reborn into a world-class transit system. Its cleanliness, organization, and safety capturing the admiration of visitors from far beyond Russia's borders. What was once dismissed as outdated now stands as a source of national pride and international respect. The narrative shift is even clearer through the lives of everyday citizens like Viktor Mikhailov. He exemplifies the quiet strength and resilience that fuel these national achievements, showing how ordinary people can embody values of service and perseverance during uncertain times. Instead of retreating, Russia is setting its sights even higher, pushing for audacious infrastructure dreams like the proposed Bering Strait tunnel that would connect continents. These ambitious plans serve a strategic purpose, rewriting the global story about Russian capabilities and challenging entrenched stereotypes. The lesson is clear: crisis can breed innovation, but only if a society is willing to reshape its narrative and invest in the foundations of progress. For individuals and nations alike, failing to harness adversity means risking stagnation, irrelevance, and lost opportunities. So, what can we learn from Russia's pivot, and how should we approach competition and renewal in an ever-changing world? In the face of shifting alliances and broken agreements, the real contest isn't just about treaties or technology. It's about who adapts fastest and turns challenge into leadership. Let's look deeper at the new global rules emerging from these tectonic changes. History does not reward the compliant. It rewards the creative. When the world closes a door, true leaders find a window, or even build one from scratch. Russia's decision to withdraw from the plutonium disposal treaty with the United States is not just a tale of conflict, but of strategic reinvention. Where others saw only risk and chaos, Russia saw an opening. By refusing to let failed agreements dictate its fate, the nation turned a diplomatic setback into a technological breakthrough. Fast neutron reactor technology, once a distant ambition, became a reality, catapulting Russia to the forefront of nuclear innovation and energy independence. This was not luck or blind defiance. It was the willingness to spot advantage where others see loss, and the resolve to act when the predictable path led nowhere. While the United States struggled with cost overruns and incomplete projects, Russia built its MOX fuel plant for a fraction of the price and launched the world's most powerful fast reactor. The tables turned. Instead of being shackled by non-compliance, Russia gained leverage over the very sector the agreement was meant to constrain. Your future, nationally, professionally, personally, depends on this mindset. In a world that punishes stagnation, those who turn failure into fuel define the new rules of the game. The United States' inability to adapt left it exposed. Russia's refusal to accept defeat transformed a crisis into an enduring advantage. So the challenge is clear. When faced with institutional failure or shifting global tides, do not ask what you have lost. Ask how you can use it. History's leaders are not the ones who play it safe, but those who see opportunity in adversity and move first. As new chapters in global competition continue to unfold, understanding this lesson will shape not only national destinies, but your own path to leadership.